Everyone, and welcome back. In this lecture we're going to be learning about drawing tools and techniques in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so we're going to start drawing out shapes, drawing out concepts. We're going to learn tools which we can use to trace out concepts, okay, to draw out concepts, all here in Adobe Illustrator. So this is our artboard like we saw from the last video, and I'm just going to go through a few shortcuts, a few navigation shortcuts which we didn't look at in the last video, so that you get familiar with them, okay, because we are going to use them in this video and in subsequent ones. So the first one is the zoom. Okay, so you should be able to zoom as easily as this, okay, as what I'm doing. Okay, so when I hold down Alt and then use my mouse wheel, when I scroll in and scroll out, you can see that I am zooming in and zooming out respectively. So all I'm doing is holding down my Alt key on my PC, or you can hold down your Option key if you're on the Mac, and you'll be able to zoom in and zoom out like this. Okay, and then when you hold Control, you'll see that you are now able to go right and left. Okay, so Alt for zoom in and zoom out, Control for right and left. Okay, if you hold down Shift, you'll be able to zoom, or you'll be able to move faster. So if you hold down Control and go right and left, okay, and hold down Shift, you can see that you're now going faster. So if you now just use the mouse wheel without holding down anything, you can see that you are panning up and down. Okay, so of course holding down Alt again will make it faster. And if you hold down your space bar, so hold on the space bar and click on the mouse and move. Now you can see that we are panning around our shape, we are moving around our shape. So if we are working on a project and there are little details which require us to zoom in and kind of work on them, we'll then need to use this. So we can maybe zoom in and then now use our Alt and our mouse and just try to pan properly. Okay, so these are some of the very basic navigation shortcuts which are very important for you to know. So we're going to start by using the rectangle tool. Okay, from the last video we saw the rectangle tool. So now when you click here and hold down, okay, just left click and hold, you then see this drop down menu come up. Now these are the other options under this one. So apart from the rectangular tool, we have the rounded rectangle tool, and then we have the ellipse tool, we have the polygon tool, we have the star tool, and we have this other one which is the flare tool. And this one will enable us to draw out a rectangle or a square, just like how we saw from the last video. Okay, while this one will enable us to draw a rounded rectangle. So you can see that our edges now are rounded, not like this one. Okay, and when we select our shape, we see this icon here, or this widget here. Now when you click on it and drag, we can see that we are now adjusting the roundedness of our edges. So now we can click and drag down to make it more round, and we can adjust up to make it less round. Okay, so these are what we do with these widgets. So they also work here also, and they basically work on every shape. Okay, even if we were to draw a custom shape, we will still be able to use these widgets to adjust the sharpness of our angles like this. Okay, so let me just delete all of these so you can look at other shape tools. Okay, now when I still come here, right click, we can see the ellipse. Now I'm just going to hold down Shift and drag. Now you can see that because I held down Shift, I was able to draw a perfect ellipse. Okay, so that's pretty much how you draw out even shapes. So this will actually work with every other shape tool also. So let's assume we select this rectangle tool and hold down shift, we can see that we are now drawing a perfect square. Okay, so back to our ellipse tool. Now this tool can be used to draw out ellipses. Very simple, very simple. Okay, and when we select it, we can see that it's just a normal shape, and we have the same options as we've had with the rectangle tool. Right now we have the polygon tool. Okay, now we can use this to draw out polygons. Now when I right click, when I just click, we can see that it gives me the ability to put in the size, or how many sides rather we have for our polygon, and also the radius. So let me just hit 7 here, and we can now see that we now have a 7-sided polygon. Okay, so when I click also, and then we have, and let's say we have 8, we can now see that we have been able to create an 8-sided polygon or an octagon, right? So an octagon is an 8-sided polygon, like we all know. So basically all you need to do is put in the sides, and we're going to have them like this. So let's see, we have 20. We are going to see that it's gradually coming closer to an ellipse, right? So let me just try putting 50 and see. You can see that it's gradually coming closer to an ellipse. Let's put 100. Yeah, we can see that we basically have an ellipse with different anchor points like this. Okay, so basically that's it for the polygon tool. Now we also have the star tool, and we can use this to create stars. And as you can see, we now have these our widgets also, which we can use to adjust the sharpness of our edges or our angles, right? Just like how we did before. So as you can see, we are also using this here, and we're also using this here. Perfect. So for the star tool also, when I click, I am able to put in the number of points for my star, and also the radius. We have radius 1, we have radius 2, but I'm just going to allow you to play with this on your own. I'm just going to play with the points here. So let's put 6, and okay, now we see that we have a 6-pointed star, right? So let's see, let's make this 9 and see, we have 9 points. Let's make this 15. We have 15-pointed star. So basically that's how this thing works. Okay, so let's go to the flare. It creates a flare, but really I do not use this so much. It's going to be useful when you want to create that kind of sun flare kind of effect. Okay, just like this. Okay, yeah, so basically that's the use of the flare. Okay, we can see that it has its options here. Basically that's it for these tools. This our shape tools, right? So we also have some other tools which we can use to draw basic shapes, which are these ones. Now we have here the line segment tool. We can use this to draw line segments just like this, just like what you're seeing. Okay, that's the use of this tool, drawing line segments. Perfect. Now we also have the arc tool, which can be used to draw arcs. So I'm holding down shift to kind of get this look, right? So without shift, you can see what you can see that you have a greater control over this tool. So that's the arc tool. And we have this other one, which is the spiral tool, which creates the spiral kind of shape. Okay, when you double click, or rather when you click here, you can see that we have many other options, but I'm not going to mess around with any of this. You can check them for yourself. Okay, all I will do is just show you these shapes. Now these tools here all create shapes with lines. Okay, so they are basically line shapes. They don't really have a feel, okay, or fill color. Okay, they only have a stroke color. Okay, now we have this other one, which is called the rectangular grid tool, and we can actually adjust the grid here. Okay, and we're going to look at this tool very much and use it very much in later videos, okay, when we learn how to create logos with grids. Okay, because it's a very popular technique to create logos with grids. Okay, so that's when we're going to learn about this tool very well. But basically, you just have to know that this is what the tool does. Okay, and we also have this polar grid tool, which is also a grid tool, and we're going to learn about it in later videos. And okay guys, I also want us to learn about something else. Let's just give this a fill color here. So I also want us to learn about something else. That's the stroke options. Remember, we learned about our fill color here, and then our stroke color here. Now I want us to learn about our stroke options. So when you come here, you see that it says stroke. Now when you click here, you see that the stroke panel then comes out. Right now I'm just going to click and drag it outside like this, and I'm just going to close this one so that we can see that we have our stroke. Now we have the width of our stroke, or rather the weight of our stroke. We can increase and reduce. And now when we come here, we can see show options. Now when we see show options, when we click show options, it gives us many more other options. Okay, now we have the cap, and we have different options for the cap, different settings for the cap. We have the corners, we have different settings for the corners. As you can see, it's updating, right? Okay, and then we have this align stroke, and it's going to align the stroke to either center or to either the inside of the shape or the outside of the shape. So basically you can see what we are achieving with this, right? Of course, here is also the weight of the stroke, right? And we can hide options, or we can go ahead and see other options. Now we have the dash. If you click here, we will then see that our stroke has now been turned into a dashed stroke. Okay, so we can reduce this like this and see the effect. Okay, or increase it and see the effect. Let's just reduce our stroke, guys, make this 3. Okay, now we can see what we are coming up with here, right? You can see what we're coming up with here just by adjusting the stroke dash. Now we also have this one, which creates strokes within strokes, or rather dashes within dashes. Okay, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Okay, so all of them will just make the whole thing more complex. Okay, so that's how they work. And basically that's it for now. When we come here, when we hit P or come to our pen tool, now this is our pen tool, and when we when we click and hold, we will see other options too, right? But let's just work on the pen tool for now. Now when we click on the pen tool and now kind of draw out a custom shape like this, and come here and then reduce or remove our stroke, or we can also remove our stroke here. Let me just undo, guys, so that it's not too confusing. So let's assume we have our shape like this, right? And we want to remove the stroke. We can click and then come here, and when you see this none, this one here with the line across it, so just click here and we have the fill color removed, right?
Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes for creative and curious people on topics including illustration, design, photography, video, freelancing, and more. Whether you want to learn a new skill, explore a new hobby, or level up your career, Skillshare definitely has something for you. There are thousands of classes on Skillshare on practically any topic you can think of. You can learn from experts in their fields, watch video lessons at your own pace, and join a community of millions of learners. But wait, there is even more. Skillshare is offering a special deal to our viewers. The first 100 people to click the link in the description below will get a 30-day free trial of Skillshare Premium membership so you can explore your creativity and learn new skills. Click the link below and start your journey with Skillshare today.
So while selecting it, we can then see that we now have more options here. We have more options here. Okay, remember while selecting this one, we don't have options here. Okay, but while selecting this one, we now have more options here. Now we have the arrowhead, and when you click here, you are now able to choose an arrowhead and then an arrow tail. Okay, so you can choose the head and the tail. You can make this none so that it points towards this direction, or you can give this one a head and give this one the tail, right? So that it points towards this direction. And we have many other presets, or many other arrowheads and arrow tails that we can use instead of just using this one. Okay, perfect. So you can give it this one. So now you can see what we have now achieved using this. And of course, we're going to come to look at this pen tool very much and very soon. So we have the scale here, we have this. Some of these options are really not important. Really, I don't use every option, and you won't use every option in Adobe Illustrator. And of course, we're just trying to learn the basic things so that we can start creating our logos. Right now, when I select this one here and come to profile, we can see that we have a number of profiles we can assign to our stroke, or to our line segment, or to our shape. Right now, when I click on it and then give it this profile and just boost up my stroke size like this, you can see that we now have our shape or line copy this profile. And I click this one, we see that it copies this one, and I click this one, you can see that it copies this one, and so on and so forth. And you can see that with this option here, we can flip the point, okay, the direction. And basically that is it for the stroke options. So we can delete everything here, close here, click here, delete. And then now let's come and look at the pen tool. Right, the pen tool. Now select the pen tool and then start to draw. Now you can see that what our pen tool does is it gives us the ability to create custom shapes. Now this one has a fill color and a stroke color. Let's just remove the fill color so you see what we've created. So we've created just a custom shape. So all we need to do is to click on the first place and then come to the second place and click, and then we will now have this sharp edge. You can click and click, or we can click and drag. And click and drag, instead of a sharp corner, we are going to have a curved corner, okay, like this. So we can click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, and we can basically use this tool to trace out drawings or concepts. Okay, we can use it to trace out drawings or concepts. So we can say import a concept, for example. So I can just come here, file, then come to place, which is Shift Control P. So when I come to place, I'm just going to come to the projects folder, which is Adobe Illustrator Overview. So I'm going to select this Twitter logo. It's going to be made available to you also. So I'm just going to click place, and now we have placed our drawing. Now I want to use the pen tool to demonstrate drawing or tracing our Twitter logo here. So what I will then do is I will have to create a new layer and then lock this layer so I don't select it, and then now I will now draw on this new layer. So when I select my pen tool, I can now zoom in, okay, and click on the first place, click on the second place, and drag to copy the curve profile. Okay, it mustn't be perfect, but you get the point. So I can come again and then want to continue my drawing, but because of the fact that this was a curved one, we see that we now have a curve. So in order to make it sharp so as to draw what is required, we just have to come back to the same point which we just left and click. Now when you come, you're going to see that this icon appears beneath the pen tool, okay, beneath the tool. So when we click, we can see that now it's now turned to an angular point. Okay, so it's now an angular point, a sharp point, not a curved point any longer. So with this, we can continue clicking and dragging, clicking and dragging, and basically, as you can see, we are now tracing out our drawing. Okay, and basically we can also come back and work on the ones or on the points we are not satisfied with. So because of the settings I did before on the stroke, okay, sorry, I closed my stroke panel, so I'm just going to go to Windows and then stroke. So because of the settings I did here, that's the settings, we can see that I was not having sharp edges here. Okay, like this, I was having this kind of edges, so I'm just going to take it back and have my sharp edges. So let's assume I want to work on some other points here so as to make the whole drawing look better. I can just click and drag and fit it more perfectly. Okay, so that's what you can achieve with the pen tool. I don't think I'm going to finish up this drawing. Should I finish the drawing? Maybe I'll just finish the drawing since it's not something hard. So as you can see, it's quite simple to use this tool. If this is your first time with this tool, you only need a little bit more practice before you become perfect using this tool. Okay, so I'm going to use my direct selection tool and reduce the curvedness of this path like this. So take my tool and continue drawing out stuff. So draw it out like this, maybe like this, sorry, maybe like this, and then just come and do this. Take the pen tool, click here, and of course we need to work on here, so but let me just finish it up like this. Perfect. Now for this one, I can just edit it like this. Perfect. Now as you can see, we now have our drawing here. We've successfully drawn out our Twitter logo using the pen tool. Now we have this other tool also, which is called the curvature tool. Okay, so this curvature tool is quite similar to the pen tool, but it's used in drawing curves. So when I click and click and click and click and click, we can see that we've drawn a perfect ellipse using our curvature tool. So let's try drawing stuff here. So when I click here, all I need to do is to come here and click. Okay, and then now we see that when I do this, you can see that we now have this. Okay, so I'm just going to undo and click again. Let me click here instead. Click. Now when I double click, instead of having it curved, we're going to have it sharp. Okay, then I can just continue clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking. So it's easier to create perfect curves with this shape rather than using the pen tool. Okay, so as you can see, without having to stress myself, I am able to create an even more perfect curve using this curvature tool with less stress than I did here. Okay, so that's just a demonstration of how these tools work. So I'm just going to delete this, and I'm going to look at some other stuff. So now I'm just going to show you one more tool, which is called the Pathfinder tool. So I'm just going to give this guy a fill color, and then I'm going to draw another shape, an ellipse on top of this shape, and give this a different color. So what the Pathfinder does is it cuts our shapes depending on how we want to cut it. Okay, so we have to have more than one shape. Okay, we have to have more than one shape overlapping on each other, and then we are going to be able to cut out our shape. So we can cut an intersection, we can cut outside, and do a whole lot of things. So let me just bring it up. So come to Windows and the Pathfinder. Now this is the Pathfinder, and with this Pathfinder, now when I select the both of them and I come to okay, unite, for example, when I unite, we can see that it has united the both shapes. Okay, when I subtract, okay, minus front, so it's going to minus the one in front like this. We have this one, which is intersect. It's going to cut out the intersection between the both shapes. Okay, we have this one, which is going to exclude the intersection like this. Then we have these other ones also. This one is going to actually divide the shape, and now we can actually take out individual parts. So if we ungroup, we can actually take out individual parts. Okay, so that's what divide does. Then we have this other one, which is trim. It's going to trim, and when we ungroup, we can actually cut the whole thing out like this. Okay, and basically you can check all these other ones yourself. Okay, but that's just what I want to show you right now with the Pathfinder tool. And I'm just going to close this panel and delete everything here. Now the next thing we're going to take a look at is the pen tool, or sorry, rather the paintbrush tool. Now the paintbrush tool is used just like a paintbrush. Okay, so when I draw out, when I just select it and draw around or on top my viewport or my artboard, we can see that we are now having a brush stroke. Okay, so when I click and hold, we also have this one, but you can check this one on your own. It's similar to this one, but they have their differences. So for the paintbrush tool, this is just what it does, right? It gives us the ability to draw out stuff, and it also has its options. When I double click on it, we're going to have the paintbrush tool options. Now we have this one, which is called the fidelity. It's either accurate or smooth. When it's on smooth, it's going to smoothen out our drawing. Adobe Illustrator is going to smoothen out our drawings like this. Okay, but when it's on accurate, we're going to get just what we have drawn. So let's see, it's on accurate now, and we see we are now having very little smoothing. And basically we have other options here, which I'm not going to look at. Okay, remember this is just a roundup, a quick roundup. I'm trying as much as possible to make this video as short as possible. And we also have the pencil tool. The pencil tool can be found here under this shaper tool. Okay, now this is the pencil tool, and it's basically similar to the brush tool. So you can increase the stroke. It also has its options. You can increase the fidelity to make things smoother, just like how we saw with the brush tool. Okay, or leave it at very accurate. And I am actually done with this one, but I just feel like showing you something very quick. Now this is the brush panel. So let's assume I have a brush stroke. When I have a brush stroke, I can now play around with my brush stroke using the brush panel. So let's click here and bring out the brush panel. Now we can see that with this panel we can apply different presets. So let me just increase the stroke. We can apply different brush presets. Now this was the original one. This is the original one. We have different other ones. Okay, different brush preset. Now we see this one is more of a calligraphic pen. with this other one, and this other one, it's more dramatic. Okay, it's a more dramatic calligraphic pen. We have this other one which give us kind of rough edges like this, and we have these other ones and these other ones and these other ones, and we have a lot of brush presets actually. Okay, we have a lot of brush presets. We actually call them brush libraries. So when you come here, you're going to access these brush libraries, a lot of them. I'm not going to look at them so that we do not waste a lot of time, but you just can look at them, right? You can discover them for yourself and see the various things you can achieve with them. So you can reduce the stroke size and then give it brush presets. So basically guys, that's it for drawing out our ideas in basic shapes with Adobe Illustrator or in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so in the next video we're going to look at even more interesting stuff. We're going to learn even more interesting stuff in Adobe Illustrator. Okay,
Hey, so that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. We post new videos every week covering topics in the fields of graphic design and illustration, motion graphics and video, branding, and more. If you want to support us and get access to exclusive benefits such as the project files we use in our classes, a live chat with us, shoutouts, and more, consider becoming a patron on Patreon. You can join for as little as $3 a month, and the link to our Patreon page is in the description below. And if you want to take your learning to the next level, you can check out the complete course, of which this episode is a part of. And in the complete course, you get access to more than 10 hours of video lessons, project files and resources, class exercises, a Q&A section, a certificate of completion, and more. You can get the course for a special discount by using the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.